Hello everyone, welcome to the January to March of 2022 devlog for Chaos Kart. There's a lot of new changes and updates, so stay tuned. Alright, so first off, we have our engineering portion. We have the new drifting system. We try to emulate Mario Kart a little bit more and have a timed boost post drift. So basically you're able to hold shift down, and once upon release you can boost for a short time. We had boost prior, but it was pretty broken. You would boost backwards sometimes, and also when you boost forward it was basically you had to click shift again to stop the boost, and so you have almost like a unnecessarily long boost. So yeah, we fixed that and we added new systems to have a proper boost post drift. Also, the drift is a little bit cleaned up. We had to go through a couple of different iterations of drift, since there was drifting that was, you could basically go left and right constantly to have kind of a snake feel, and you could essentially drift the entire match. And yeah, we wanted to kind of, I guess, slow it up, not make sure you're not like able to maneuver that much, I guess. So that was some iterations we were doing with drift. Also, the boost cleanup, as I said before, the boost was a bit uncontrollable prior, and you just run into trees and you couldn't stop yourself very much. So lots too much speed is bad, as well as too slow. All right, we had added pre-drift hop cleanup. So initially the hop was pretty small, and sometimes it would clip into the ground weird when you would hop, and so the act of hopping now is a little bit higher for everybody, as well as you won't just break the game, or you won't like fall into the floor anymore upon hopping before drifting. So we reinitiated the drift spark VFX as well. That's something that we had before again, but it got broken, and we hadn't had it for a couple iterations of like a few weeks. So we have new VFX sparks, and we'll end up having different sparks for different characters, and it wouldn't be where each character has their own unique sparks, just to keep it more uniform, but for flyer characters they might have like a wind kind of deal rather than a typical sparks, depending on the kind of character or the kind of vehicle that they have. So that will be iterated on as well in the future. So we have functional multiplayer, and so this is a huge one that has been really exciting for us recently, is actually having a lobby system and being able to add people on on team 1 or team 2. And so that has been a great addition to actually feel how the game will be. And so we've been really focused on gameplay and gameplay mechanics rather than the actual race currently. So we're just trying to really flesh out the character and character abilities to see what feels right with the characters. And having multiplayer functionality has been great, and we've been testing every weekend. We have a new crew every weekend that I'll add on, and we'll all lobby up and try to fight each other and play around each other and everything, and drift around each other. So it's just like playing around with the characters, I think, is a good way to test the feel of the characters. Like, for instance, the test we had this morning, we had some feedback that Malboy was too slow, and we realized that there's actually like a bug that was integrated with why he was too slow, and he just wasn't able to go his full top speed for whatever reason. But yeah, that was an actual bug that we found. Also, Revenera last week was not able to deal any damage, and having frequent playtests has been helping us realize all the kind of glaring issues that need to be fixed to have our full MVP. Alright, so what do we have? The multiplayer jitter cleanup. So upon having multiplayer, we had a bunch of jitter issues, which that's going to still be occurring for a little bit, and I think that's going to be hard to clean up fully. But we have, so literally there's so much jitter prior that if you stopped, you would sink into the ground. You would sink into the ground plane, because your character would just rock back and forth, and then you would start clipping through the ground, and then the server wouldn't know what to do with you. So you basically quicksand through the ground plane if you stalled for too long, which is hilarious. but not very fun. So, um, so yeah, we've been cleaning that up and making it to where it is actually somewhat playable if you're not if you're not the host. All right, and then so we have for another thing for engineering, start creation of tag ability systems. So this is actually a pretty big one. So tag ability systems is essentially where in a way, if you are a League player or if you are a Dota player, or pretty much any RPG, you know that there are basically status effects that affect your character. Like if you're knocked up in the air, then you could have it. You're experiencing the knock up ability, and in case you may not be able to send out an ability or an attack or something, you're basically like stunned or something like that. Most CCs or bleed effects or burn effects or frozen or freeze effects and everything that slow you. Those are all type of status effects and tags. So basically creating a tag system so that when we have characters down the road that have similar effects or similar things, then it's really easy to just like, okay, they have this tag for this ability. For instance, we have Talk, who has an electric shock grenade type thing, and that electric ability is basically a silence, and so not only does it do AoE damage, but it also silences those that got hit, so they can't cast for a short time from that silenced ability. And as soon as we create that tag of silence for electric abilities or whatever, then another electric ability, like an electric shot from a different character, like maybe an ethereal character, might have a similar silence effect. So that's been really fun, creating that tag system that basically makes it just, we're able to scale easier that way for programming sake. All right, Malloboy ability 2 functional. So Malloboy so far has only been able to swing left and right. He has had a spin attack, but has only been damage. And so now we have basically the spin attack is the ability 1, and ability 2 is where he's able to hit or like mallet hit on the ground, and the longer you hold it, the further it goes. And so this is also directional, so you're able to pivot from negative 90 to 90 or 180 degrees in front of you. So basically the half circle in front of you, and the longer you hold it, the more the range it has. And so he slams his mallet on the ground, and it will knock up multiple pillars in front of him in that direction that you're looking, similar to a tank. And this is the only way to kind of like catch up to someone or hit someone from afar, if you do a maximum hold and get a decent range. And basically, if you get hit by this attack, then you are knocked up in the air and damaged. And so it's basically a good way for him to catch up to you or knock you off the map on a turn or something like that. So I'm glad that's functional. We have had some errors with it and some bugs with it. Like, for instance, if you shot it in front of yourself or hit it from yourself, you actually drove faster than the attack. And so you basically look like you were just constantly hitting yourself. Obviously, you couldn't hurt yourself, so that wasn't a problem, but that's not very good if you want to hit someone in front of you and they're too fast and you're too fast for the actual ability. So we needed to increase the ability speed. All right, and so next one is Malloboy ability 1, tune up and anti-projectile. So that is where this spin attack will now, or like, so will soon anyway, this is what we're trying to figure out now, is in the tag system, any kind of like cast or shot is considered a projectile, right? And so this is an anti-projectile spin, and so any projectile that hits the spin volume will be nullified, essentially. So it's not a reflect, it's a nullification. So and nullification itself will also be a tag, right? So it'll be like no damage, ability ends at this volume, right? So so yeah, the spin attack's been updated to do anti-projectile within the volume, and that's still being tweaked. So Malloboy spin attack VFX. Now we have a placeholder fire VFX, like kind of like tornado, like a fire tornado around him. As he's spinning his mallet, you see like this big tornado which we have in the video footage. So Malloboy basic attack, adjust the swing left and right depending on camera direction. So prior we had right trigger will melee right, and then left trigger melee's left, right. So but to simplify the buttons, because there's so much happening in Chaos Kart, that we really needed to simplify the amount of buttons you use and have to use, and so you're not like clawing and have to do 2 fingers on the top and everything, or utilize 2 fingers on the top if you. So in order to simplify, we have all basic attacks are functioning with 1 trigger, and because he hits left or right, he doesn't have like omnidirection as far as his basic attack goes. We have it to where if you are currently looking left or right in the camera, then it'll automatically know or automatically choose that section, and the actual hit is almost like a sort of like C shape in front of you, or like in that direction, and so you can kind of hit a little bit in front of you as well to the side, if you're playing Malboy, like almost like at least 2 chunks, right? So so that's helpful, just being able to like have simplification of your basic attacks. All right, and so we have Revenera free aim on her ranged return spell. So prior, we had Revenera being able to shoot off of her basic attacks only a 45-degree angle, and we realized that wasn't too fun after doing some playtesting with her. So adding more freedom to Revenera, and we allow basically the whole like Malboy ability too. We're able to look around and shoot in that direction within 180 degrees in front of you. And the longer you hold it still, the longer it'll go. Now this is concerning, I guess, for some people that have been doing the playtest, that it might be too OP, so we'll have to have either a longer cooldown on it, or have it be lower damage, because say if she's behind someone, she actually might want to pivot behind someone, because you can constantly backcast someone, and then the return ball also does damage, like an Ari spell. So either we have it to where the damage is nerfed, or she can't shoot too often. So we'll have to figure that out, or like maybe it can't go too far, so maybe her distance needs to be nerfed as well. So that's something to consider for the future. All right, so spell VFX. So the spell VFX have been updated, at least for right now, temporarily. We have like Revenera has a shield upon casting her basic attack. So in the future, we're trying to have it to where Revenera can cast an ability and give an ally a shield, or debuff an enemy right through her cast. So if you cast through, you'll also do damage to an enemy or debuff them, or an ally, you would get them a shield and a small speed boost, something like that. So basically, we're trying to add multiple layers of things, so each character feels unique and impactful. And so, but yeah, right now, basically, the spell VFX is a shield around her, and eventually you'll see shields around whoever is her ally and that she casts through. And also the ball effect itself, we have a temporary ball effect for like a positive ball, like blue magic energy, and we have dark magic energy for her. So yeah, Revenera shield and speed boost buffs on herself. Right now they're pretty broken, but they are functional. So as you cast, she gains that shield, and she gets a nice boost of speed, which can be also in addition to her speed boost from her drifting. We probably need to make sure it's not stackable, so she's not just flying ahead of everybody, but instead like an addition to her drift boost. As far as like adding to the drift boost timing, not adding to the actual speed. All right, next one is temporary camera locking. So temporary camera locking is basically as you're looking around the map and everything, or you're shooting other people, it will basically give you a quick amount of time to keep on looking around, and if you stop looking around, then it will pivot back to its original origin, which is the center. So this came from feedback that like the camera was too free, and basically like if you wanted to just race, or after you've fought and you wanted to race, then and you may not be able to center your camera properly again, then it will automatically do it for you. It'll basically slowly go back to center and snap center. All right, then we have camera quick look behind. So basically, we have a function with our. Let's see, what is it? least on the Xbox Pro, we have our Y button, right? So our top button. So similar to Mario Kart, you want to look behind you. We were thinking about quick casting behind you, but for right now, we're gonna scrap that, just for time's sake. And so yeah, so right now it's gonna be quick casting is your Y, or not quick casting. You're looking behind you as your Y. Quick casting is definitely a stretch goal, but it probably will not happen. So let's see. So yeah, camera look behind you. If you see someone's gonna come up on you, then you want to be able to know what's going on behind you. So we need to add that function. Camera readjust the center slowly. So yeah, I was just talking about that. And semi-locked feel. So semi-locked feel is basically the 180 degrees in front of you. So before, the camera was so free that you're able to like look in any direction freely and basically like just like keep on going in circles like an owl head, you know, basically like looking around fully. And now we have a semi-locked feel where it locks at a certain height and a certain like I guess depth between different turns, and then a certain low distance. So that way if you're going downhill, you can still shoot downhill. If someone's going uphill, you can still shoot uphill if you have a free ranged attack. Alright, and so the next one is the damage to enemy health bar. So we finally have it to where the health bars are functional, and also the health bars show up now, but yeah, the health bars are finally functional, and you can initially Revenera wasn't doing any damage at all. Malboy kind of was, but it take a long time to kill someone or to blow someone up, right? And so we finally kind of fixed that and added to where these abilities actually do damage, and you have a hurt box as well as your hit box. All right, then we have shields. Oh, shield on hit bar temporary. So yeah, for Revenera, when you get your shield, we wanted to have it similar to League, where, and like I guess Overwatch is as well, where like you have a temporary like gray health bar. I'm not sure how extensively Overwatch uses the system, since a lot of the shields are like physical shields like in front of you. But at least in League, you gain a gray temporary shield within your health that just basically like a timed thing. So maybe they have an extra like gray health for 4 seconds, and as they hit you and your shield goes away, then you'd actually take any damage during that time frame. So that is now functional, at least semi-functional. So then we have QA test multiplayer functional or function and notes. So we this prior we've had multiple QA sessions or multiple Let's Play tests, and so I'm trying to do this once a week at least on the weekends, and gather crew to do more playtests, so we have like a lot more time, and so we have a lot of notes and bugs from that, so it's been good for engineering. All right, we've had 2-pack builds, and at this point we've had 3-pack builds within at least, let's see, we'll be doing it every weekend now, like as Express, but from just February alone we've had 3-pack builds to show and have people test and everything on their own time, or as a group, and that's been extremely helpful. And so from now on, I think that will be a huge deal, just like pushing for weekly playtests and for packed builds. So all right, Revenue ability 2 blocked out, and tracking enemies, so that is brand new as of like today. So yeah, so basically Revenera's second ability now is essentially close to a red shell from Mario Kart, but not necessarily, where she can cast an ability and it will kind of like track on the ground, or it will track on the ground soon. And what it does is it goes into a straight line similar to like a green shell, but as it goes forward, it has a pretty big like hitbox range and everything. So if it notices an enemy character within that circle, right, within that AI range and everything, then it will automatically just rush after it and everything. And like right now it's super OP because it'll actually loop multiple times, so that's gonna be a bug. So like if it misses the first time, and we shouldn't have it miss the first time, it should be pretty accurate. If you shot within that range, it should jet to you, and the only way to like dodge it might be like a hop or a boost forward or something like that. And if it misses, then we don't want to keep on looping. We just want it to like crash into a wall or something, so it won't be too OP. All right, and then the health bars above the player heads. So we now have that. I think that's been pretty good. So before on our recent playtest last week, damage was available, but we did not have health bars, and so people didn't know when actually their enemies were going to be destroyed, and that was kind of silly. And you know, we people need that feedback of like how close is this enemy to die or to blow up, so they would know whether to risk fighting them or not. All right, and so with art and animation, there's been a lot of especially animation side and some on the art side as well. So let's get down to it. So we've had Malapoi rig tweaks. In game during playtests, we've noticed that there has been a lot of clipping with Malapoi, and Malapoi rig has been like solid functionally, but has a lot of like little, like the shirt goes through the jacket kind of thing. The tongue was actually going through the neck, which looks really funny. And so we're about to add that fix. So we've been doing a lot of paint weight fixes this past 2 weeks especially, or past 3 weeks now. So Malapoi added facial animation functionality, so that's been really cool. So now he has like a tongue function, so he's able to like curl his tongue or like wag his tongue at like an enemy as a taunt. There's been like kind of like silly eyes and everything, like eyes that kind of go out and everything as he gets hit, and just adding some actual some extra like levels of depth on his facial animations for either taunts or expressions of anger or something like that after he gets hit. So that's been a lot of fun to see. So Malapoi weight paint cleanup, that's just overall weight paint cleanup. A lot of vertices were moving and spiking and everything during his animations, or like when as he brought his mallet in the air, then his arms go straight through his face on his ability 2 that we've been creating. And so we've been cleaning that up too, adding some more squash and stretch to his to his rig. So like his strings were not moving those clavicles, so the string was kind of sitting there as the clavicle is moving, so that wasn't good. We went through a whole video and segment on that. One of our past YouTube videos on rig cleanup and QA. But yeah, so a lot of functionality and quality of life bug fixes for Malapoi. Yeah, he had a lot of shirt clipping bugs. His leg was just kind of like had a huge hole in it when it moved. And anyway, the eye close functionality now, so now he can blink and he can wink or something like that. New teeth mesh. His teeth were flat. It was an older model, and so we've added 3D dimension to his teeth. His eyes are now spheres. When I first made Malapoi, his eyes were oval to kind of match more of like a Mario style, and it just wasn't working for the rig very well. So we went back to the sphere and we like re-UV'd that and everything. And his hair was kind of chunking like this, and we wanted to make it a little more smooth transition. So his hair is looking a lot better now too. So now as his hair kind of like moves in the wind and everything, it won't be like, it won't like clip like weird, or like not necessarily clip, but like be harsh. It's a lot more of a smooth transition. A lot more swash and stretch, of course. All right, and so let's move on to Malapoi's mallet. All right, so his actual weapon, we've added some weight paint cleanup. His spikes now on the ends of the mallet. First off, the outer spikes can go in and out, as well as the front spikes can go in and out. And so basically we're gonna have it to where as he's holding his abilities, or as you're holding an ability for him, for say ability 2, where he's like has his mallet above his head, the player's gonna see his spikes are gonna be inside the mallet pretty much normally as default. The outside spikes are going to spike out, and the top spikes are going to spike out, depending on the amount of time you have that ability held. And that way it has more perceived damage or effect when he slams down. And this will also be on his right and left attacks as well. So he'll have spikes kind of come like do, and so you'll do a lot more damage, and it'll just feel more impactful seeing that animation of the spikes kind of jutting out upon hold. A lot more squash and stretch available for the mallet as well. We want to feel impactful, and as the head expands when you're swinging, then you'll feel like a bigger hitbox as well, because that was a big problem with Malboy is it's difficult to hit anyone because you're melee and you're racing and stuff. So having that swing feel better and having like the head of the mallet expand and the hitbox being a lot larger will feel better for melee players. So Malboy's cart has also been adjusted and updated. We've reduced heavily on the geometry to meet budget better. Each character, weapon, and vehicle has a budget that we've been trying to hit and everything, just for our own sake. It's easier to port onto things such as the Switch and everything when you have a better budget. So, yeah, the geometry's been reduced. We've been reducing the texture work on everything, so it's nice and cleaner for the multiplayer functionality. Yeah, general cleanup of the geo. I noticed there was like on small spikes and everything on the cart, or small like rivets or bolts and everything. There's an unnecessary amount of geometry, and so we've been reducing that. And also hard edges. In any kind of, or I guess a lot of stylized games, you don't want to have a lot of hard angles, right? Like sharp 90 degrees. And so on a lot of those sharp 90-degree angles on the cart, I basically just went for a bevel feel, and so I would reduce the outer circle and kind of like, so if it was like a bolt like this, it would be a big circle with like harsh 90-degree thing, and I would just like shrink that top down, and it would feel a little more like a spike. So you can kind of see all the angles, and it just feels a little more stylized and like a little more fun, silhouette wise as well. Let's see. Oh, so now we have a really fun, like, we've added edge loops to the chassis, so now the chassis can bend. So the chassis will now be able to morph based off of the hit. So if he takes like if a character takes like a right hit on Malboy, then the actual cart will animate with Malboy. So from now on, we want to have like cart reacts as well as character reacts, so it feels a little more fun, cartoony, and bouncy when you get hit. And so based off the hit damage, the cart will kind of juke a little bit, or it'll like jiggle a lot, like almost like a jello, like it gets hit and then like it was able to kind of bend. It's very Disney, old school Disney. And so yeah, we added like a rigged chain down the entire thing to be able to morph the cart effectively. Let's see. So the chassis bones is a big fun one. Adding chassis bones. All right, so moving on to audio, we have all of Hookbeard. His voice lines have been done a while back from Gary Scales, and that was
it was a good run, Siren.
We haven't actually added any voice lines in the game yet. So we've had
take that.
We have Hookbeard from Gary, and then we have Bucky from Eli.
Whoops,
and so Eli Harris was,
I'll be right back. Got a
Bucky,
bucked up truck.
I believe it was like late last year, and Gary Scales did his Hookbeard lines, I believe, early last year. And so what we needed to do was splice those different audio files up, clean them up, kind of EQ and really go through them and filter them, and get them in Engine, or at least through that process, and then clip them into those scenarios. So each of those voice lines, there would be, so if Hookbeard gets hit, then he might say one of 5 voice lines.
Just wait.
And so now we need to have like, okay, hit, react,
Watch
1 through 5, that kind of thing. So that was a fun one to do. So going through those, also adding the Wise to the project. So Wise is a pretty solid middleware that a lot of audio techs that I've known or talked to seem to really like, and so we've gone through with Wise for our project, which helps really blend the sounds together. And there's a little bit demo of that I will show you now.
And that's the main engine sound. So it sounds like this. I then hook up to the velocity parameter and make it do this as it gets faster. like a Mario Kart kind of boost thing. This is what I've got for it so far. Just a quick kind of flame, rockety, noisy sound. And then I've got a just basic hit sound. That'll get supplemented with other sounds like, you know, car hits and things like that, depending on the enemy that you're hitting with it. And it will also get panned left and right, depending on which side they're on. And then just basic swing sounds.
Right, you can kind of see how Wise is pretty strong and has the ability to ramp up the sounds from a higher to a lower tier, and kind of blends the sounds very similar to how you blend animations in Ninja. It's like an audio version of that blending. All right. So yeah, so with Wise, we've added some Malaboy Kart sound effects that have not been added to build yet. I currently don't have any audio in build, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we'll have that here soon. But yeah, adding Malaboy's vehicle sounds, and hopefully we'll be able to get Malaboy's actual voice lines here soon too. We have added a lot of the narrative. Speaking of which, design and narrative is next. So let's go down to that. Had to edit my OBS. There we go. All right, perfect. This might cut into my face a little bit, but that's fine. All right, so with design and narrative, we reworked the design and design documents themselves have been a new thing. So the new tag ability system, we've added a lot of things for just for cleanliness sake and for organization's sake. We want to have new design documents. So we have new design document templates, which means that we're able to show the different developers exactly what they need to do, have references, have like a list of things. And so this is way better than what we've been doing in the past, where I basically just give a task list to someone and hopefully they do what I'm expecting or what I want. So design documents are way more helpful with having outsourcers and like an employee see exactly what needs to be done, like to the T and everything. So I highly suggest having we go through Google Doc systems, and so I suggest just making a template for design documents on Google Docs. It's really helpful, and that way you can just give a link to your developer and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, whether it's VFX, whether it's sound, whether it's engineering, any of those things. It'll really help with your developers. All right, so next on the list is Reveniere's rework to dark and light spells, passive change, and second spell rework. So Reveniere's gone through a lot of iteration the past couple months, and a big part of that is prior she was kind of like a random spellcaster person, and it didn't really fit with her lore. And so we've made because of the lore adjustments, we've made adjustments with her kit. So yeah, prior it was like she would shoot a fire or a ice spell or a dark spell, and it just felt kind of off. And so what we decided to do instead, because she is a kind of like academia type of like sorceress character with an evil spell book, grimoire, we wanted to go with either light or dark spells. This is very similar to how like Kane in League of Legends is done, and also how they did it in Fables, the Fable series, where you're able to, as you're doing dark or light things, or like positive or negative things within the world, you become that, right? And so she'll have a dark and light side, and as she does more dark or light spells, dark being usually debuff and more damage, and light being more speed related and team oriented spells, then you will your ability too will change based off of your light and dark spell usage. And also the more you use your light spell and become light, or vice versa, those spells will be more impactful and more damage oriented. But if you decide to transition back to, let's say, dark, then the dark spell won't be as impactful until you have readjusted your like alignment toward dark. So you would need to use a couple times for it to gain strength over time in transition to dark from light, and vice versa. All right, and so next we have the Malboy design doc added anti-projectile spin to his first ability, and the double spin of charge. So I already talked about the anti-projectile that we've added functionally, but the additional thing with ability 1 is that you can load it twice. So basically, it's similar to a Vi Punch Q, or not Q, I think it was E, where if you haven't used that ability for a while, it can actually do a double charge where you're able to double cast it back to back, and that will be his kind of like more tanky ability, because he is more of a glass cannon, but if you're able to spin and do anti-projectile, at least you won't get hit by old projectile type characters. And so a anti-projectile, at least anti-mage type or anti-shot type, he'll become basically tanky through that. And so basically, if you're able to drive around for a while and hold on to your ability 1, then you'll have 2 casts upon reaching the fray. All right, let's see. So next for design is playing the tag system. Most tags are defined by debuff, crowd control effects, and rough landscape. So I've already talked about the tag system a little bit, but the rough landscape effects are similar to, like, say, Mario Kart, where if you drive off the main road and go into rough terrain, which is usually like dirt or grass, something like that, then you'll be slowed. Or if you go over ice plane, then you will be slowed, as well as not having traction. And also there's the like oil. We'll have an oil slick, but the addition to our oil slick is that you'll be susceptible for fire damage, that kind of thing. And so rough terrain will be another thing we'll add to the tag system, as well as just general effects from character abilities. All right, next is the narrative portion of this section. So I'm going to scroll a little bit. So yeah, narrative, we've reworked that dark to light. So this is reworked for Rhaenyra's voice lines to reflect new abilities, the dark and light alignments. This has changed a lot, as well as like the way Grimoire talks to you. Your evil spellbook talks to you is, if you're a light alignment, then he'll be depressed and sad and wants you to go to dark. And if you're before you've made your alignment, then he'll always be kind of egging you to go to dark. And then if you are dark, then he'll be talking more and you'll be talking less as Rhaenyra. So it's almost like he gained the power and he knows you're dark, and so that's kind of what it is. But if you're light, then it's kind of like you're able to talk more and he's kind of just sad and wimpy. So it's more of like, depending on your alignment, the actual voice lines will change due to your alignment, which is similar to how they did Kane's kit at League. So Malboy voice lines have reworked as well. So before, Malboy had a lot of leet speech, like gamer speech, and I didn't realize how trolly and annoying it was. And so that's something that we had to definitely rework before having having someone voice act those lines and everything, and waste of money, right? So after a couple iterations, we've come down to kind of a middle ground of him having a little bit of lead speech and silliness, but additionally just having some genuine, like, where am I, where is this world, I'm probably in a game, so I'm gonna act like I'm in a game, kind of thing. Very much a meta character, where he believes that, yeah, as a gamer he's probably in some kind of game, and so he's gonna act like it. And then for marketing purposes, the I'm working on the how to make game characters tutorial series that I'll be posting up on Udemy and a few other places. So check that out here soon. So this is going to be the development of one of our racers, Talk, who's going to be in our MVP. So our next character I'm developing, and with my newest game art pipeline, I have a master's in game art, and I've been really focused on a lot of game art stuff, as well as the designing of this game and being art lead at Synodic Art. So this will be, if you are a game artist, definitely check this out. I'm hoping to have that out in the next month or so. The how to make game characters selection tutorial, so that should be fun. I hope. And then the next part of the marketing was the how to rig for games for Bucky. So we've been making some sales as well. If you are interested in rigging, then I highly suggest you checking out the how to rig for games, and that has a video, and we have links to that tutorial as well. And lastly, we have the making and implementing sound effects for games with Wise. And so Wise, as I said before, for the audio, if you're interested in game audio, it's going to be a pretty cool series with probably the most liked middleware or software for audio techs. So if you're looking into game audio, definitely check that out. All right, so that's been the wrap up and update for January through March devlog. Hope you enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe to us, and look forward to our next videos and updates for Chaos Kart. Thanks, everybody. See you next one. Yeah, the jitter is definitely something we gotta figure out for sure.
This is awesome.
I'm still going super fast with the Revenera. I'm like shooting, get like crazy boost, but I think it's probably because we don't have cooldowns currently.
Yeah, and I also saw that from stacking that effect. Now it doesn't infinitely do it.
Whoa, if you hold down R, whoa,
That's another
that's
ability.
really crazy.
Oh,
Okay.
yep, that's the load up ability. So yeah, Malapoi is currently melee, but that's his one way to catch someone from afar is his like load up R. So R click is just one explosion,
Cool.
and it can build up to like I think it was like 4 or 5 explosions in front of
Yeah,
him.
I like that.
And you can directionalize it so wherever you're looking is where it should shoot.
Yeah, yep.
So this is basically
that's
a
awesome.
Kart tank game.
Very cool.
Yeah. We also added functionality, or Pat added a functionality for the camera. So now if you are looking around and trying to shoot, but then just stop doing that for a little bit, then it starts shifting back to center.
Okay. Very cool.
So that is another additional thing. It's like if you're kind of paranoid that you're not like looking straight ahead or something. Yeah.
Oh, I ran into a bomb.
Wait, so is it free for all, or are there actually teams?
There's teams, but the team logic was kind of broken, and so I just like did the team logic for this playtest.
So it's free for all.
You're free for all at the moment, yeah. So the lobby doesn't really matter yet, but yeah, other than the character selection. Also, with the Revenera, the longer you hold her basic attack, the further it goes.
Quicker it is. Does more damage too. Right now the ring's kind of hard to hit, but if you hit both parts, this is a pretty good chunk of health. It's hard to hit with people moving fast and the jitter. It's going to improve the performance of it.
Dang, that R is strong. the Revenera follow attack. How much
Yeah,
damage does it do,
it's
though?
fun to fly from a long distance too. Just be like,
I'm not sure how much damage it does, though. Let's see. Oh, I got wrecked by it.
For when you die, do you want like a car crash kind of explosion-y sound?
Yeah, I think it probably so. Like it, definitely an explosion sound. Initially, I had an idea where maybe like when they explode, they'll do damage to the nearby people, but I feel like that would be too great. Like everyone has a Cogmaw passive, but
Gotcha.
But I think that now they'll just explode and then respawn. Similar to where if you like fall off Mario Kart, you'll fall off the world, then you'll just respawn.
Gotcha.
And we'll have like checkpoints along the way. So you'll probably respawn at the checkpoint slightly in front of where you were, or quickly onto the one that you just passed. So
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
I feel like melee is pretty hard, though. I like that it feels like you're kind of jousting, and that jousting is hard. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there should be a huge reward for actually landing a hit melee.
I should probably buff the name.
Definitely. I think it probably will be easier to hit when everyone's on a track and it's a lot more linear. But yeah, I think you're
Supposed to be
right.
racing and
Yes,
doing this?
It will be racing. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Let me do that.
Well, this track is terrible for it.
Yeah, the track is way too
Hard.
skinny, so it'll just like fly
Pretty
off.
windy.
Like, it's possible as Mallet Boy to get almost all the turns while still going decently fast and staying within the bounds using the drifting, but it's really hard because of the speed up afterwards.
How do you drift? Shift isn't doing anything for me as Malaboy.
So if you hold that shift and like turn to the left while holding it,
Okay.
then you let go of it. You'll get a little boost at the end.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's similar to Mario Kart, where yeah, it's like Mario Kart has the 3-tier system, and we basically it's like as long as you hold shift and like it's really fun to play around with shift at the moment. It's like you're able to kind of like rocket at the moment, like back and forth. In a way. And the bonus boost. So some characters might have like a passive that affects their boost or drift systems, and so maybe someone that might feel underpowered other than those things, I guess. Like so if it's hard to hit an ability with that character, but then maybe their drift like adds like a mudslide whenever they're drifting and does damage to those around him in the drift, like that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they might have an OP drifting system, but then like it's hard to hit their abilities typically or something, like to keep them kind of balanced and more unique than the other ones.
Cool.
Oh no, can someone come kill me?
Oh
I'm
no,
stuck.
you're stuck. Oh, hold on.
This is cool. This is very cool. Man, I'm super excited to see how this game ends up turning out. Like, this is already pretty cool.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for sure. Like, but now that I have a little bit better funding and like a better idea of what I want, I think it took a long time for me to realize what I wanted the game to be. Like the identity of the game was kind of like I was unsure about it, but yeah, I feel like people are smart and quick enough nowadays to like almost everyone multitask with their driving, even if they shouldn't be. So it's like,
fair.
So like with that in mind, it's like, well, people nowadays and gamers nowadays, maybe back in the day they maybe couldn't have done it, but now it's like, yeah, you can drive and also fight, and it's like a tank game with a little more speed going on,
Yeah, whatever that like little is it? I don't know if it tracks or not. But whatever that little laser bolt thing is strong. It is strong.
Yeah. It tracks pretty hard right now. Boom. And yeah, so Malaboy has a lot of things that create CC, right? It like launches you in the air. Like almost everything he does can launch you in the air. And so that's kind of his takeaway more so is, melee, like his scrapper, but also like in a racing setting, right? Even though we're have like a wider racetracks and everything, he has a high ability to, if he hits you, to knock you off the side of it, and then you have to respond from that. And so he scraps, and he's kind of like a I don't know, probably a glass cannon type of character in a way, sort of like a brawler. But yeah, if he hits you, he might fall off the track. So definitely, like Revenera does damage, and she can do pretty good damage at a range. But she's a glass cannon, but also does not really have CC at the moment.
Gotcha. Cool. Will this work? Like, if I want to just go back into this build just to like mess around with the characters, like, will I be able to play by myself, or will I need to?
Nope. If you just make the lobby only one person big, when you press ready, it'll just start. You can also since you have access to the Unreal project, you can just open up the Unreal project as well.
Cool.
There's compile issues when you first open it. Just like close it, delete the binaries, saved intermediate folders, and then just retry.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah,
then
you can.
But yeah, just having both of these, just like to kind of go back and be like, if I'm making something and be like, just have a visual reference for it will be helpful.
Okay, cool.
I'm super excited. This is cool.
Yeah, I think yeah, we'll definitely talk about sound effects and like what needs to be done for sound effects and like because like even if you see Reveneer with a shield around her and everything, then that'll probably have some kind
Yeah,
of sound, and the
definitely.
actual magic itself will have some kind of power effect, sounds and stuff. So
Definitely. I would definitely like to, whenever you've got time and all that, to meet sometime soon, and kind of talk about what you're wanting to get from audio moving forward.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely for Mallet Boy, after playing this, I definitely see a couple more areas where I can add stuff, and make changes and all those kind of things. But definitely, yeah.
Yeah, we were playing around with mechanics and like what
We feel like
feels.
to do restarts so that the people playing Mallet can play Revenera.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Sorry to cut off. I just figured that'd be a good thing to do while we're talking.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me start over.
So
and-
also, right now you need to fully close the game. So it's like
Okay.
just like close the window.
Yeah, just Alt Tab out, exit. A moment.
I'm just gonna wait to launch until the server is up and see if that helps anything.
All right. Well, this will be Chaos 2, and it's up.
Okay. Find a match. I see it. And I'm in. Cool. Revenera.
All right. Kroby.
Cool.
All right. I'll do Mallet Boy this time. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
Oh.
Oh, and if you
Fun
didn't
point.
know, the Mallet Boy right and left attacks can also be loaded for a harder shot. So that'll knock them away further and also do more damage. The spin attack currently is like damage over time and that kind of thing.
This is Unreal Engine 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet. I've been thinking about how I'm gonna make some sounds with like just like the general movement and stuff for Rivenera, because Broom doesn't make an engine sound, so this is gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, it does.
What
Goes
ends up
broom, broom,
working.
broom.
It's just me going boom, 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 boom.
Oh, I'm stuck. Oh,
That's like
Oh no, I'm stuck too.
just like a
Yeah.
just like a dumb unlock at one point. You just heard get an engine sound, and it's just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some reference on Harry Potter or something, some like wispy wind sounds or something, or
Yeah, definitely.
probably maybe some kind of like whistling when you're going really fast or something. I don't know. Yeah, and we weren't sure like what Mallet Boy's like long attack was going to be. Initially, it was going to be like you're going to just launch like rocks or whatever or stones, like kind of coming from the ground like pillar stones, and then it's like, okay, what if you tried
Yeah.
ice and like slowed people? But then that seems like it might be a little bit OP. So like knocking people up in the air while slowing them and just being a
Yeah.
general deterrence. But yeah, whatever we end up doing right now, it's fire. Like we can always just nerf
Yeah.
damage or just have the cooldowns be a lot less frequent, that kind of thing. So
Gotcha. That makes sense. I feel
I
like
was
for like
wondering-
racing games, like people are more forgiving of an ability that like knocks you off the horse or whatever than being like slowed down for an extended period of time.
yeah, I feel that too. Uh-oh.
Cool.
Got a crash.
Very cool.
I did.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Baka Bros Entertainment for more updates on our game development videos. And just remember, keep on developing, bros.
Happy developing, bros.